Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers Podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content, billed as a Harry Potter for adults, and touted by many on Book Talk and Bookstagram as an Akadar hangover remedy. That's right, we're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're discussing the second half of Book 1, The Awakening, chapters 14 through 26, where things start to get interesting for both of our twin protags.
Before we get into it, we want to give you a content warning. From this point forward, there will be spoilers, major spoilers. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We are also avid fans of the Moss Universe, Fourth Wing, and other popular romantasy book series, and we might accidentally let spoilers slip there as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R. There will be smut, and there will be smut talk. Also language, be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
All right, so let's dive into the text. It's been a whole day since Tory has encountered the heirs, but later she has Earth Magic class with Caleb and Zeph. But good news, she has packages. So she heads on to the Pluto offices to pick them up, where she runs into Darius. She has a semi-nice interaction with him, and I think this goes with what Christy said last time. Darius kind of showing that he might have a softer side.
And probably one of my favorite parts of the book, with Tory quipping that the post was delivered via unicorn farts.
Yeah. Again, it really just reminds me of Bryce and her Pegasus love in Crescent City. Anything that has to do with unicorns or Pegasus nowadays reminds me of Bryce. But I do think this is one of the only interactions in the book that is like civil in some ways. That doesn't feel like a threat to one of the twins.
Yeah.
Is that because it's maybe away from the school, sort of?
Maybe. I don't know.
Away from the populace.
Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't threaten her, but he still kind of like messes with her because he's like, well, I won't burn your stuff if you show it off a little bit.
It's kind of like an afterthought, though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like it's like, oh shit, I forgot I have to be an asshole. Like, whoops, you know.
Do you think Darius goes out of his way to be an asshole?
I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I don't think he wants. This is something given to him that he's supposed to do, and so he does it. But I don't think it's would be his choice. Maybe it doesn't seem like he gets enjoyment out of it, like Seth, the psycho.
We have so much to talk about with Seth because we're gonna get there. But Brittany and I were talking about it at work, and I went from being like, oh, he's harmless, to being like, okay, complete psychopath. Hate that guy so much. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about Seth later.
All right. So to me, this is the start of Tori's shopping addiction. I feel like she's got one. Like, she's never been able to buy things before, and now she's like, ooh, credit card.
I know, right? It like kind of makes me think like Darcy's gonna have some other kind of addiction that's not shopping, like maybe alcohol or something. I don't know. Something's gonna happen. They have access to all this money for the first time ever, and Tori's like, okay, new wardrobe. And then you like multiple times throughout the book, she's like, well, I could just buy a new one. It's fine.
Yeah.
It must be nice.
Okay, so in Earth Magic class, the professor sets the students free to explore a cave, which, like, honestly, what is the point of that class? They don't necessarily learn anything, much like in the air class where Darcy just blasts the ocean with air magic. I don't necessarily get that as far as a teaching tool.
Yeah, can we like talk about how poorly written these classes are? I mean, I get it. These are like the first classes of the year, but like, damn.
Only Orion's class did they actually, I feel like, taught something rather than just go explore.
It's kind of a mess.
I think I said this last time too. It feels like a bit of filler. Like, I need to get them from point A to point B, and this is the only way to do it. You know, I think I would have rather had it where maybe they found the cave on their own and they happen to be in there too, or something like that. Because it just doesn't feel legitimate. And it may be that we're comparing it to like Harry Potter and some of these other books that are a little more well thought out.
Yeah, like fleshed out.
Fleshed out. I would say well thought out. Yeah, because I don't want to. I mean, I still enjoy the books, but
yeah, I mean, I'm always comparing this book to fan fiction. Well, there's this term in fan fiction that I think of oftentimes when we're reading romantasy books, like From Blood and Ash is porn without plot. A lot of times people are just happy about that. They're like, okay, that's fine. I know what I'm getting into. You know what I mean? But sometimes, you're reading a book and you're like, okay, this is literally just so we can get back to the spicy scenes. I feel like a lot of Blood and Ash is that, especially near the end.
The Anita Blake series.
Exactly. Like, at some point, is there any story left? Are you just dragging this out? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? I feel like that's why there might be 9 books of the Zodiac Academy. We'll see.
So in Earth Magic class is Geraldine and a few of the Ass Club members. Geraldine keeps calling the girls Your Majesty, despite Tory and Darcy both constantly telling them, stop, please don't do that. This is the one thing about Geraldine that really frustrates me and that I don't like. Because I know that she says, I'm just trying to show you respect. Well, respect their wishes. It's like Darius refuses to call them Tory and Darcy. He calls them Gwen and Roxy. And that really just frustrates me.
Also, the fact that those are terrible names. Well, Gwen isn't that bad, but
Gwendolina?
Roxy is questionable. Yeah, Gwendolina is pretty bad, but Roxania? Really? I mean, again, sometimes this book feels like satire. I don't know.
Well, I feel it's a little disrespectful, honestly, to continue to be like, Your Majesties, when they brusquely said, I don't like this.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess my only thing with that is that they never, finally in that scene, I think it's Darcy that does, Tory ditches, I think. It says, basically, why don't you just try being my friend? Or something like that. And then at that point, kind of gives her the go ahead. And she's probably more comfortable using their names. I can't remember for sure if she still calls them their majesties, or I think she starts to afterwards and then corrects herself. But I mean, until then, they've never said, like, you're a friend or anything that would make it where she was comfortable calling him by the first name. So if they truly wanted that, because that was one of my frustrations, was how they treated her. Like, if they weren't such assholes to her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There are moments in the book where Tory and Darcy just kind of like piss me off a little bit, but Geraldine deserves better in some ways. Like, she is a little over the top, but she's ultimately she hasn't done anything to deserve like being rude to her.
Yeah. One thing I was going to bring up with this is that, because I was kind of thinking about it, I think I talked with you about that too, is if this book isn't a little bit maybe healthier in the way that it's more realistic. So, you see like, Buffy or things like that, where you've got friends like right from the beginning, again, like Willow, love me some Willow, but they're the friends that everybody wants. They're, she's willing to get her ass beat to protect like a brand new friend. But how realistic is that? And is it maybe that this book drives a little more towards like humanish behavior versus like this more unrealistic type? So,
True.
It's a little bit healthier.
I feel like I agree with you on some level, but at the same time, like I was talking to Brittany earlier and we were talking about the scene with Diego's car. And I was going to bring this up later, but I'll mention it now just briefly. I was telling Brittany that I feel like I have never had friends or people in my life who would just diss somebody's car, especially somebody's friend, their car. I just thought it was kind of ridiculous that they were like bad-mouthing his car, like right in front of him. I was like, what shitty friends? Like, I would just get in that car and shut the fuck up. I don't care how much of a beater it is. I just think that's so disrespectful. Like, if you have anything to say, just don't fucking say it, because he's giving you a ride where you want to go. Like, chill the fuck out. I don't know. So, yes, but also, I think that's crazy. I have never met someone who would do that. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Whereas I went to a school with a bunch of rich people and a small group of lower income students, and it was very much, you got made fun of for your clothes, you got made fun of for your car. It was not the best situation.
Yeah, which I feel like, I don't know, maybe I just had a different experience in high school, because we definitely had those kids that clearly had more money, but at the same time, I feel like where I went to school, they were just the same as us. I don't know. I don't think anyone has ever spoken down to me about my income, and I did not grow up well off, but for those who have experienced that, I just feel bad for you, because I never want to experience something like that. Like the thing with Diego and Tory and Darcy, I just think that's fucking stupid. It shouldn't happen. It's just ridiculous, especially between friends.
I would have left their ass in the city.
Right? I would have just fucking left them. Or I would have started a fight. I would have started fighting.
All right, Tori kind of upsets Geraldine, and Darcy steps in and was like, okay, so we don't want servants, we want friends. Will you be our friend? And so then Geraldine hugs Darcy, and then the rest of the Ass Club group hugs her, and Tori slips away and runs into Caleb and Seth. And Caleb confronts her about letting Orion bite her. And I just,
Letting.
Yeah, letting.
So that's kind of an asshole move on Caleb's part, but also, I don't know, I just like Caleb.
I know.
And at this point in the book, I also liked Seth, but he's being a jackass in this scene.
I was okay with the bully teasing conversation there until he threatened to tattoo her forehead.
Oh, yeah.
That was a no for me. Don't even go there.
I was like, okay, it's never gonna get to that point. Don't even fucking try. No. Mhm.
Also, she's more powerful than you, dude. What happens when she grows up? Power-wise.
Yeah.
So they have this conversation. Caleb picks her up, runs her, and says, you need a better view of this cliff. And they dangle her over a cliff with stalagmite, I think, at the bottom.
This is a crazy scene. The first insane scene of the book, which is, well, okay, that's a lie. There have been other things that are crazy, but something about them just holding her off the cliff, the Lion King moment, too much.
I think the Lion King, at the end when okay. Yeah. I was thinking the circle of life, and I was like, oh, it's a bit different. Okay, but the craziest fucking thing is the fact that they're holding her over a hello, we're going to impale you thing. And she's looking at his fucking chest.
Oh yeah. She's like, I'm about
Showing
to
how hot
fall,
he is.
but he looks so good while I'm doing it.
Oh, I hope you like that stalagmite up the ass, but
I have to say, there is a character in the Dark Fae series that is obsessed with the Lion King. Anyway.
But yeah, she's literally about to fall to her death, and she's like, God, he just looks so good. Get a fucking grip, bro. I mean, okay, out of the three of us, I feel like I, shockingly, am the most boy crazy. However, can you imagine feeling like that? No. Not the first thing on my head.
not in that moment.
No, not in that moment. But she does manage to use coercion for the first time.
Finally.
And on the heirs, nonetheless.
Which, okay, let's back up for a second about the coercion. There is barely any talk about how they learn this magic. There's no discussion of how any of this comes to them. I get it. They're supposed to be naturally powerful, but are we literally just gonna give them power and then not even discuss it?
I think they kind of do it in passing. Oh, I've been working on this at night with
Sophia teaches
but
me.
there's no, it's all the scenes are reserved for the hot shirts and, ass cheeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there ass cheeks? Did I just make that up? I think I made that up. Hot shirts then.
No,
There might be ass cheeks.
There's probably a point where some ass is discussed. I don't know.
Well, we know there's ass discussed, but
So it's the first Friday. That's right. It's only been 1 week since all this started.
Insane.
But there's nothing to do. Tory and Darcy are bored, and Diego offers to drive them to town. He's got a clunker. He's embarrassed.
Clunker.
Yeah. And they go to the bar, and surprise, Professor Jerkface Orion is there with a hot date. If you went to a bar and found your professor there on a date, would you stay or would you find somewhere else to go?
I'd leave.
Okay, so I have been to bars with my professors.
With or just at the same bar?
No, with them. Yeah. It is fun, but also terrifying because it's how they're gonna see me later. So how insane do I get? Actually, where I went to school, it was actually really common for students to do that with professors when they went on study abroad trips. Very common. I don't know. I don't think it's that uncommon in general, but I have heard some crazy stories about my professors, my drunk professors. Also, my professor has bought me a drink before.
My professor, now that I think about it, has bought me a drink too. We were in a group though. It was not just me and the professor. Not that I'm saying it was
it wasn't just me and the professor. It was me and a couple people and the professor. But it is weird, speaking from experience.
It's a little, especially these days.
In America, I feel like it's not that cool. But in Europe, as far as I understand it, it's not as taboo. Because when I went to Spain, our professors there openly hit on us and asked us on dates. And when we asked the professor there, they were like, yeah, it's not that uncommon here. And we were like, well,
but what happens if you say no?
Nothing happened.
So that's the difference.
Yeah. I feel like the professor there, he was just kind of brushed it off. He's like, okay, I'll try again later. And we were like, wow, okay, whatever you say. But Orion, Now that is an issue that I wouldn't want to run into.
Well, first of all, speaking of being in America versus being in Britain, the girls have like this very, what? We can order alcohol? It's legal? Don't y'all have a drinking age?
Yeah.
This part frustrates me because it is, as you've said, a clear kind of dig at Americans.
Yeah, it feels kind of like comical in a way that, I don't know, with the way that they write about it, it feels like they're calling us out a little bit. Am I crazy?
I mean, when I was younger, it was less well known that, in Europe you could start drinking at 16 if you wanted to. But nowadays, I feel like a 10-year-old now knows it.
Yeah, I mean, information is more widely available now in general, so.
I don't think it's as shocking to us Americans
Yeah.
anymore.
I agree.
All right, so Diego goes and gets some shots for everybody. And while he's gone, Geraldine shows up and she's got these shiny new ass badges.
We have under-discussed the Ass Club.
The Almighty Sovereign Society.
The Almighty Sovereign Society is so excited to see you too.
Don't destroy Geraldine.
I'm telling you,
For
that's
me.
how she talks.
That's why I read the book.
I think the whole thing about the Ass Club is so funny. But, okay, let's be real. If you were Tory and Darcy, how would you feel?
Oh, it's completely embarrassing.
It's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, but if everybody else in the fucking school is trying to kill you and you have one person that's being nice to you and is willing to protect you, I think I'd be like, okay, thank you.
No, I mean,
You
I would be nice
I may
to
not
her.
be like an ass badge wearer, but like, you know.
No, I mean, I'd be nice to her. I wouldn't be a dick to her, but I'd be like, bro, do you know that your badge says ass on
And
it?
she's like, only you would notice that.
And I would say to her face, Geraldine, no, everyone knows. And that's the thing about Tory and Darcy is they don't say that. They don't say that to her.
Yeah, but they make Tori out to be like this badass kind of.
Right.
Well, but wouldn't a badass like.
Yeah, kind of a badass kind of character.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have the fucking balls to tell Geraldine to her face
Yeah.
that the Ass Club is dumb. Okay, I just think to be Geraldine's friend, you have to be honest with her.
Yeah.
Geraldine, this is kind of lame.
Just wait for some more clubs to form.
Do we have the butt
There's
club?
other clubs with bad names.
And so Sophia downs all the drinks once Diego gets back.
Okay, so Sophia just downs all of the drinks, which when I read that, I was like, what the fuck?
But she can handle her drink.
But the way Diego reacts, what the fuck did I say? He
Okay,
is
I didn't
weird.
catch that when I was reading it, but yeah.
Right, because when I had, you guys already know I had it out for Diego.
yes.
And then I was reading that part and I was like, oh my god, he spiked the drinks or something. He did something to the drinks because later she's like fucking crazy and she's like insisting that she can hold her drink. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna believe Sophia because then doesn't he go back to get more shots or something?
Yeah.
Darcy does.
Darcy
she
goes
goes
to
to
get more
the
shots.
to the bar to get more shots.
But then he says he's gonna escort her back home, and something about that did not sit right with me. Something just did not sit right. I
So
don't
like
know.
he's escorting her back home so nobody else can see what she ends up doing.
Yeah. And then the next day, well, we'll get there, but the next day, he's just like, oh, she stayed in my room. And I'm like, that is so fucking sus. I don't know. I don't know. If you've ever had girlfriends leave with guys or like, if you've ever been out clubbing with girlfriends, right? Like, you just get a sense like, ugh, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't like Diego.
Definitely. After you said that, it makes sense.
You
That
kinda
there's something
catch it.
there. Yeah. That he would react the way that he did, that Sophia ends up looking like even more of an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's going on with that man's. And what's under the hat? We kind of find out
Which is
later.
not a beanie.
Yeah.
It is a beanie.
It is a beanie.
It is a beanie, but it's
It
not
is
a beanie. Like, okay.
But we kind of find out later, doesn't he take it off later?
For the
And
dance.
it's like normal.
curls.
What a fucking shame. I thought there was secrets hidden under there.
Yep, just curls.
So Darcy goes to the bar to get more shots, and she overhears Orion talking to his date, or so she assumes, about killing people. Again.
Yeah.
So, of course, he sees her, confronts her about what did you overhear, and she runs to the bathroom like an idiot.
I just don't
He follows.
understand. Yeah, like why would she run to the bathroom? Panic, I guess.
This whole scene, there's several parts that I think are just completely idiotic, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, he follows her and then he basically is like, what did you hear? What do you know? And she's like, nothing.
And then he coerces her into telling, and he's like, Okay, go home.
He's like, I'm so unbothered by you. He just, at first he's like, I'm worried that they found out something. And then when she shows her ass, he's like, oh, you don't know anything. So clearly, like we said before, Orion and Darius are probably not out for the twins. And I feel like this scene kind of proves that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then Orion leaves, and so do Sophia and Diego. And then Tori gets a message from Falling Star to meet in the alley next to the bar, which of course sends the twins into the like, are we being watched? So then they go to the alley. Falling Star backs out, and then there's this big shadowy figure and this rattling noise, and they are chased down the alley. What do y'all think is this shadowy figure that's after them?
Same thing that's in the forest, right?
I mean, it seems to allude to that it's the same thing that scared Darcy in the forest. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but why do I have a feeling that it's something way simpler than they think it is? I don't know. It's like I know I keep comparing it to Harry Potter, but it reminds me so much of Harry Potter in some ways. It's kind of like in that first or second movie when they think it's Snape doing all of these horrendous things, and they keep seeing him like come out from behind like corners and like doing like nefarious things, but then at the same time they find out it's not him. And so I feel like we're going in a direction like that, something like that. What do you think, Christy?
I mean, I think it's the same. I don't have any hardcore like guesses, but
Yeah.
I'm the same. I think with the whole like shadows for the nymphs, that's what we're supposed to assume that it is. But I don't know. I just don't think it's like, I think it's a misdirection.
Yeah, and we know after this that Geraldine is attacked. So obviously it's something, but what is the question?
Could it be a nymph that's being like controlled by somebody else? They could use
Possibly.
their powers, their shadows.
I think the problem is right now is that we as readers haven't met what a nymph is. Like, we don't know what a nymph is. Like, we've only heard things. So I think we have to wait till we either meet one or see them in action or something in the books.
So I was thinking maybe they get blamed. Like they actually, okay, this is what did it. Story over. It's done. And then we start learning more about the fact that, because I don't think they're the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to blame them so far.
Yeah.
We
So
don't know the
far,
full
I'm
story.
Team Nymph.
Team Nymph, Team Geraldine, Team Jerry.
Team Jerry.
All right, so the girls run out of that alley and straight into the arms of the heirs yet again, because they can't catch a break.
Because of course
anywhere.
they're there.
They could have walked away.
Literally. They don't want to walk
But
away.
instead, they sit in their lap.
Max uses his siren powers to make them feel like it's okay, though. And to me, I don't like the sirens. To make somebody feel a certain way they don't want to feel,
But that's just Darcy, though, isn't it? Tory chooses to sit.
Yes and no. I think he is occasionally like grabbing onto her wrist to make her feel like he can project feelings, but skin contact makes it so much stronger.
They are kind of icky, the sirens. Like, so far, the only ones we've met are pretty gross. It feels like a consent issue.
Very much so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do they take away any kind of feeling from their victim? So, like, if their victim's afraid, can they take that away?
They can.
But they choose not to, almost.
How are
I don't
they
know.
not super popular as like almost like a drug or something? Like if you're afraid, if you're upset, if you're hurt, that's who you'd go to.
So we'll learn more about that next book, I believe.
Interesting. Interesting. So you're telling us that sirens can be good guys. They just, so far, are not.
Or drugs in a way.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, if you're upset, depressed, or something like that, and you go pay somebody to take it away from you, you know.
Or send you all the happy mojo.
Yeah.
Like, almost weirdly like Jasper from Twilight, except he kind of just, doesn't he like enhance emotions?
I don't remember.
I think he can sense and enhances emotions. I can't remember. He has the weirdest power. Have you ever seen Twilight?
I have, and I remember reading it. But that was like, what, 2008?
It's
Offensive.
confusing reading it though because it doesn't match up. Like the characters from the first book don't match with the second book. All the shit they can do in the first, they can't do in the second. Like it's just a whole fucking mess. Oh my god. Yeah, like half the stuff in the first book, it's like they must do this, or they mustn't do that, and then all of a sudden the fucking second book, it's like no, they can do this all of a sudden, but we're not explaining why. And then the third book goes back to it's just it's a hot. Make a note or two. Make a fucking note or two. Like you know.
All right, Twilight haters in the room.
Okay, so things get hot and heavy between Tori, Darius, and Caleb, and then Darcy and Seth on the dance floor. I know that you said earlier, like, Caleb has a thing for Tori.
Definitely. He definitely has a thing for Tory. It's so clear. I mean, like the other guys, I'm not sure. I mean, well, Darius probably also seems to really like Tory, but Max and Seth don't seem to like Darcy. They seem to just like messing with her so far. And so I have to guess that Orion is really Darcy's like true love interest, not the other two boys. But we also haven't read any other books yet.
Yeah.
But so far, and knowing what I know, it doesn't seem like Max and Seth really truly like her.
I think, again, Seth is a psycho. But I
That's
think
insane.
Max seems like such a follower.
So far, yeah.
That's, I
And
don't know.
Caleb stands out because he seems to, in this scene and the next scene and later, it's almost like he does his own thing with Tori. Like, he doesn't always go with what everybody else is doing, in a way.
Bit of a rebel.
Brittany is making a face.
I don't know what you mean. Darius is called away by Orion, you know, because he's missing an assignment and he had to track him down at the bar.
So he says.
Yeah. And so they go off together and they're missing. And the girls are still dancing. And then all of a sudden, lights go out. There's an announcement saying that all Zodiac Academy students must return to campus.
It was so sudden, too. Like, I was like, oh my god, they're getting hot and heavy. And then, bam, all the lights go out.
And they go outside and suddenly Geraldine is attacked.
So let's rewind for just a minute, because this is the part
Go
that I
off.
was like, what the fuck? Like, if a twin dies, I'm okay with it because you're fucking stupid. So you have just been previously in the alley where you've nearly died.
Yeah.
The crowd is headed out front. What's your rush? The building's not on fire. But instead, they do the smart decision because they're streetwise and fucking go out the back to the fucking alley again. I mean, are you kidding? Like, I reread it like multiple times thinking, surely they're not that stupid. And especially with the verbiage that's going along with the stupidity.
Right.
Really? Yeah.
Why would they go out the front? That's logical. Hello.
But they went off the back because they're streetwise. I'm sorry. That's where you nearly got killed, but okay. But yeah, anyways, that was my rant.
Yeah, I mean, they go out back and it's like, okay, I don't see why you went out the back door.
Yeah.
Also, like you said, there's no fucking fire. And then they find out about poor Jerry.
She is in an ambulance and Orion is covered in blood. And so Darcy immediately thinks he's guilty, especially since he disappeared.
Yeah.
Then he like fights her and takes more than he should have because he's in a frenzy.
I think it's a bit much. I don't think it's good that he did that. But also, he seemed to be on the brink of death. I don't know. He was really drained.
But how? Like,
But
what
yeah.
exactly did he do? Especially blood all over him. Unless he was just in there with Geraldine. I don't think, did she have blood all over?
We don't see her in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, they see her far away, like being put in the ambulance, but she's.
But he technically saves her. That's how he's trained. So how does he have blood all over him? Unless it's like a reverse vampire thing and he's like spitting up blood to her. I don't know.
Well, I think what it's indicating is that he gets hurt. There's blood all over him because he gets hurt, or he hurt something else. So
Did he get hurt?
Well, actually, I
Other
take
than
that
drained?
back. I think Geraldine later says that she was stabbed in the shoulder or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think she does mention that she got stabbed.
Okay, so maybe that's how he ends up with blood all over him. Okay. But again, what does he do to help her? Because he brings her back from death.
unclear.
How?
It's never really specified because we talk
Yeah.
to Geraldine later, or we try to, right? And then they're interrupted, aren't
Yeah.
they? I can't remember what happens there.
In the hospital?
They do go to Uranus Infirmary.
Uranus.
Uranus is my favorite building
Uranus Infirmary.
from Washer.
They're in Uranus.
So there's some magics that we haven't learned about yet.
In Uranus. My God.
The next day, Darcy wakes up with a hangover and a bunch of regrets. Seth is waiting at her door to take her to breakfast. He wants to be friends.
This is the goofiest fucking scene in the whole book. I thought this scene with Seth was so funny. We were talking at work and I was like, Seth's just a dumb little puppy. He's just a dumb dog. I mean, how can you hate on him right now? He's literally being so stupid. I love it.
Don't debase dogs like that.
How dare you compare Seth to dogs?
So now that we know what happened, do we think that he's being honest here?
No, not even a little bit. If you've read the end of the book, you know that Seth is actually possibly the worst of the heirs.
For once, I'm right. At least
You
for
were
now.
fucking right.
At least for now. But here's the thing, because this scene got me. Because at first I was like, I hate this guy. Don't forgive him. But there's this like part of you, right? That
Yeah.
you want to believe. Like even though you fucking hate him and he's
Yeah.
a psycho, there's the part of you that so badly wants to believe. Why do we do that? Why
I
is it
know.
not where you're just like, nope, past actions, you're done, buddy?
It's the puppy dog eyes.
I felt the same way. That's why I was like, come on, I feel kind of bad a little bit. But at the same time, I knew in the back of my head, I was like, this guy, you cannot trust him. But I was like, I don't know, maybe he's just an idiot. And just like, if he's just an idiot, then how bad can he be?
But is it more so like that whole concept of you want everybody to like you? Like maybe if there's that slim opportunity that you're not going to have an enemy, that it's like, do you take it? Do you make him a worse enemy? Is it going to be worse for you if you're mean to him and say no?
Well, we want so badly for Darcy and Tory to have allies a little bit at this point in the story. It's like so rough for them.
Yeah.
And I feel like we just want to really believe that like he's changing his tune a little bit. But it's too good to be true,
Well, yeah, which we see.
But he is so stupid in this scene. I love it. I love a good himbo. What does he say? He said something about mouth humping?
Yes. He's like, oh, I love the way you said my name. It's like you mouth humped it.
Ew.
And then when she's talking about Orion, he's like, don't ever mouth hump somebody's name in front of me.
Oh, okay, wait. This is how I imagined him. Whoa, babe. You can't fucking mouth hump someone's name in front of my face. That's so not stellar. How? That's so uncool of you.
You sound like Travis's D&D character.
I just think he would talk like this.
Damn it, now I'm going to hate that character. Shit.
No.
Just screwed it.
He doesn't talk like that in the audiobook, but in my mind, Seth is like, I don't know, like a little bit dumb, like skater / dumb, like surfer boy in a little bit. He's got the long hair.
Yeah.
And isn't he kind of tan? I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, I think
He's like classically handsome in a way.
Oh, I thought he was like kind of like a fuzz bucket. Like,
Fuzz bucket?
Yeah, like the long hair, kind of fuzz bucket. Like he wasn't like classically handsome, but he was like.
What the hell is a fuzz bucket? Well, it's like long, sleek hair. So like in
Is
my
it
mind.
sleek?
Yeah, I think so. We should look it up.
I know he wears a man bun a lot.
See, this is why, like, reading the books versus audio, like, my vision of them always comes out completely opposite from the actual description.
Wait, he has long chestnut hair and brown eyes. He is described in the books to be handsome. His body is well trained and muscular. So it doesn't say anything about the type of hair, at least online, but in my brain, he has like long, sleek chestnut hair that you can put into a man bun and it looks nice. Because he wears it in a man bun for the dance or whatever, right? Which we'll get to it later, but dances in college, is that a thing?
No, is it?
Not that I know of. Another
That's a
issue
good
with it
catch.
being written about so-called college. I feel like they wrote this about high schoolers and then just
Fucked up the ages?
They were like, oh, they're having a lot of sex. We need to make them adults. And
Well,
then,
especially with the teacher thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which, by the way, this is the first time that's mentioned that dating teachers is super bad. Like, super consequences can happen.
I don't even remember reading
I
that.
don't either.
So he doesn't mention the super consequences. But Seth says when she mouth humps Orion's name, he's like, whoa, are you into Orion? You know that's not allowed.
Oh, he does say that.
Okay.
Whoa, babe. You can't be into Orion. That's super not cool. I'm sorry. It's going to be him in my brain forever. Even at the end when he's like evil.
Yeah. This is one of the few rules of this world is that you cannot date a teacher as a
Lame.
student.
Sorry, Darcy. You're going to have to move on.
Yeah, sure.
Something tells me she's going to do it anyway. Something tells me Darcy's going to fuck her teacher. Sorry. So gross.
All right. They go to the orb, go up to Washer. He's the only teacher around, and ask for Geraldine. Of course, he has to tell them in the most ridiculous way where to find her. Why is everything that comes out of his mouth an innuendo? I hate him so much. Like,
He's gross.
And where are we to find them?
Uranus Infirmary.
His favorite building.
We are children.
It's almost childish in a way. And I know we're sitting here laughing about it, but
So much of the book is childish. If we can't laugh at it, then we're not going to have a good time.
Like, literally in my notes, it says Uranus Infirmary, LOL.
all right. So they start headed to visit Geraldine, and they get confronted by Kylie and Marguerite, who are like, "We saw the video of you dancing with our men. How dare you, you whores, fucking bitches."
They're the most boring characters.
They are.
They're so annoying.
Yeah, it feels like the she's are following like a standard. Like, I just feel like it's like men that wrote this. Like,
I know, it's like shocking that it's like two women that wrote this, but again, I'm hoping it's like satire.
I would think it is.
Yeah, I think some of it
Yeah.
is.
So they do visit Geraldine. They are snuck in because they're not
Wait a
supposed
second.
to.
Can I just say I love that one of the mean girls in this is named Marguerite because my ex best friend, that was her name.
Was she like a marguerite?
She's the worst. So yeah. Anyways.
All right. So Geraldine says that she was attacked from behind and she smelled cinnamon.
And I felt so vindicated for noticing the cinnamon in part 1.
So she was attacked from behind and ended up in Uranus.
Christy's not gonna let this one go. Ended up in Uranus and smelled cinnamon.
Smelling Uranus.
I feel like this is an intentional misdirection again, but also it made me wonder what smells like cinnamon. Is it just Orion, or is there something in particular that smells like cinnamon? Could it be magic? Could it be like a type of magic that smells like cinnamon? Could it be something that he's holding on him? I don't know. Or is it just Orion? Because I first pointed it out because I thought that Darcy was noticing because it had something to do with like her and Orion's relationship in a weird way. But since Geraldine noticed it, I was like, okay.
Then it has to be something like truly physical.
Yeah, it must either Orion actually smells like that or there's something about him that carries that smell.
He bathes in it.
Okay, so is it...
Bathes
He
in
does- he
cinnamon.
doesn't.
Oh, okay, she's
Oh,
lying.
I was like, damn, she let that one go. But
I mean, he
could
could,
there be
yeah.
something that is like...
You keep looking at Brittany.
Because you know how like you have these little like protection for Wiccans where they've got like you can have different things that provide protection to the wearer if you have in your house or things like that. Could there be something on him that carries cinnamon that helps to protect against maybe other people reading his thoughts or
That's kind
something
of what I
like
was wondering as well. I was wondering if he's carrying something or if there's some kind of magic that he's doing that has that smell.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too into this. It's like
No.
are the curtains blue for a reason kind of thing?
Yeah, but I think they've mentioned it so many times. It has to be important. If it's
Right?
not, then they royally fucked up. Did they royally fuck up the book, Brittany? She's laughing. Is it going to be like
Watch it be
a
not
dead end
important even a
street?
little bit.
All right, so Darcy suspects Ryan more and more. So during her next liaison meeting, she confronts him. I'll be honest, for someone being accused of murder so many times, he takes that like a champ. Like, go ahead, show me your evidence.
He's so unbothered all the time.
I did want to. So I do want to go back to when Marguerite and Kylie are attacking them. So did you notice that Principal Dumbass, Nova, she steps in. Like she actually steps in to stop like the whole like kind of the physical altercation part of it. But of course, if it's the boys, she doesn't.
I
When is
don't
that?
remember that.
Yeah, she can. I mean, she's not like in there like hitting people, but it's
When
like
did she step in? I don't remember that.
like during that she kind of steps in and is like, okay, we're gonna stop. You're gonna have to move on. Move on. Stop doing this. Like she does it in like a non-confrontational way,
kind
but
of
she
like,
is
move it
intervening.
along.
But she is intervening. Like you're gonna have to take this somewhere. You can't. You're not going to be able to act. You can't act this way, kind of thing.
I'll be honest, it was probably an accident on Nova's part. I don't think she meant to intervene.
Brittany's like, that
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
the intent.
Because it felt like, okay, for the girls, they can't act that way, but for the boys, then you don't say anything. So, okay, I'm sorry. That was what I caught that and
Yeah.
didn't.
Damn.
I think that was an accident. At the liaison, he coerces her. She throws it off, so she is learning. And he accuses her of sleeping with Seth.
He's very bothered by that.
Yeah, like, Darcy's like, is that really appropriate, sir?
Darcy's like, and what if I did, bitch? She's like, actually, I haven't, but that's a great idea. Like, he just like pushes
Really?
her towards him.
Really? I can do that.
Not Seth. No,
Yeah.
not Seth.
At that point, I was like, but what if she did? What if she does? Again, I just really wanted to believe Seth was just kind of a stupid idiot. Why am I on the Seth bandwagon? I don't know. I was very hurt at the end.
I was very not surprised about that part at the end.
You called
Darius was the only one I was really kind of, but even then, he's still. Well, we'll get to that later. I won't.
So, speaking of Darius, we have Tori confronting him about not showing up to her fire tutoring sessions. She goes to his room, knocks on the door, he says, come in, and bam, it's a room full of gold.
And
She accuses him of having a pirate fetish.
I was dying whenever she was like, man, he must have some gold up his ass or something.
Like, that's gonna be very uncomfortable to sleep on. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah. I must admit, I saw this one coming a little bit.
the dragon.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it was kind of alluded to in a way, but also I was already kind of informed because of previous conversations with Brittany. So I knew I knew one of them was a dragon.
Didn't, but I didn't care. Like, it just seemed like a so-and-so sis, so-and-so. Like, there wasn't like a...
It's like, oh,
ooh.
whoopee, he's a dragon. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like a big deal because it's like they're rare, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, like, okay.
Yeah, we do find out later that they are rare and that dragons are considered one of the most powerful order forms out there.
Which
so
is
that
cool.
does put Darius on top.
So does that make one of the twins a dragon?
Ooh, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. That does sound like
Let's stare at Brittany.
plausible, right? Well, Tori mentions she's like, man, I want to fly. You know?
She's like, whatever order form I get, I want to have wings because that sounds awesome. And it fits with like the whole motorcycle. She loves to race down the highway, that feeling of flying and freedom.
So yeah, she's a dragon.
kind of foreshadowing.
She's got to be a dragon.
Something you mentioned before was that the scene where he strips naked and jumps out of the window felt very Twilighty.
Oh yeah, I was like, climb aboard, Spider-Man. It just
God.
feels so like goofy. He like strips down and then jumps out the window. I don't know.
Wait, Darius?
Yeah.
He was already naked when she walked in.
He's
No,
like half
he-
naked.
Yeah. He strips down and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, well, when you stop eye fucking me, I'll let you know.
Oh, that's right.
It just reminds me of that scene. It was so like melodramatic to read it because it reminds me of that scene in Twilight when he's like taking off his clothes and he's like, you don't understand, I'm different. And he's like,
And then he
walking out into
fucking
the sun.
sparkles.
Yeah. Which,
Jesus Christ.
did we ever see that coming as readers of Twilight? No. So kudos to her.
How is that a reveal? I made you what are those? My Little Pony. There you go.
Well, isn't it?
She turns vampires into fucking My Little Pony.
Well, isn't there like that theory that like, what's her name? The author?
Stephanie Meyer.
Stephanie Meyer. Isn't there that theory that she's like, isn't she like super Mormon? And so like the vampires are her like version of like white purity. And so that's why they sparkle and shit. Like they're literally like alabaster skin is supposed to be like the purest form of like, I don't know.
I hadn't heard that.
Moving on. I've heard people say that before.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's,
has
like-
it anything from her or?
I don't know if she's addressed it or not, but I have definitely heard people talk about
I feel
it.
like she was just so desperately trying to make something different that she was like, rainbows.
Well, I think the theory is like, it's like her like repressed Mormon fantasies. You know what I mean? Because she was like not supposed to be thinking about stuff like
Are
that.
there Mormon fantasies?
I think these are Mormon fantasies. He sparkles.
Sparkly rainbows.
Yeah.
For a vampire.
It reminded me of that scene where he steps into the sun and he's like, I'm a vampire.
It's like a fucked up leprechaun.
And then Darius is like, I'm a dragon. Jumps out the window. I just can't. I can't do it.
I love that Tori also decides here that she can never bow to Darius. Not because she just doesn't want to, but because she wants his respect.
Yeah.
And I love that for her.
Same.
I mean, I do spite, and I do spite very well. But I
Love a
love
petty
that
queen.
she's not deciding this out of spite. It's I respect
goes.
you, and I want your respect back.
I feel like that kind of foreshadows to like some of, for what I'm thinking Darius will end up being. Because everybody else is like, ooh, hot. Ooh, hot. Not that they don't do that with him too, but that aspect, they have not cared if anybody else. It's just more been sexual. Please tell me he's not the bad guy. He's not Cain, is he? Damn it.
Oh my god, Brittany's making a face. I think he is the bad guy, but not for the reasons that we think.
What do you mean? What are your reasons?
I don't think he's just an outright bad guy.
Okay.
I think he is going to be a bad guy, but like he is either forced to do it for a reason or it's for reasons that maybe change as the book goes on.
But like a redeemed bad guy.
Yeah,
like he's
kind
going to
of.
make the best decision in the end.
An anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
Yes.
That's a good way to put
Best
it.
hero, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
Next, we have Siren Enhancement Class. This is probably my least favorite because I hate the sirens. But Max gets them alone after the other sirens try to make Darcy spill her beans about lusting after Orion. Max gets them alone and makes them spill their deepest, darkest fears. So Tori is afraid of water because her ex-boyfriend was driving home drunk, I think, and he went off the road and went into the water and left her there. So she was drowning, stuck in the thing, and some strange stranger helped her. Boyfriend didn't even stick around. What do you think about this fear? I think it's a legitimate fear. Like, that would terrify me.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole memory that she recounts is terrifying. Like, one of my biggest fears is, like, fucking falling into deep water in a car.
Yeah.
Like, that, because there's so little time to save yourself in that situation. So, absolutely, that's valid.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, you've seen me whenever driving over a bridge, I'm like, stare straight ahead, don't look around, just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so valid. And I think we knew as readers at this point in the book, okay, these are going to be exploited at some point.
Yeah.
But, like, I couldn't have expected it to be exploited so soon. Like, I would have thought they might have, like, held on to that for later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I felt like there could have been another ending that maybe it was a little easier to go past and then use that for, like, a big kind of moment.
I agree. Like, make the reader forget about it and then bring it up at, like, a sudden moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of build up the guys a little bit more.
Yeah.
So Darcy's fear is that she dated somebody, saw him for 3 months, and gave in to, sleeping with him, which is what he wanted, and then he immediately dumped her. And part of me feels like, honestly, what girl hasn't gone through this?
Yeah, I feel, okay, like, don't get me wrong, it does suck to feel that way.
It
like
does.
a guy used you. I feel like a lot of girls, gays, theys have been there, but I just don't know if this one was as impactful as Tori's fear.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like her ending was more impactful than Tori's. So, like, on one end, being afraid of deep water feels more legitimate. But then, because Darcy's is less, like, classically terrifying, it makes her ending that much more tragic in a way. I don't know. It's more emotional. Intimate in a way.
True.
Yeah, but for them being in the foster system, they lost their parents, they've lost people over and over, there's been abandonment time and time again. So I think add that to the boyfriend who it's going to take a long time for her to trust, for her to love. And then she finally does, and then that happens. I think it kind of like compounds it some. So it might be a little more triggering than I think if it was just, somebody that was like, grew up with their biological family and then that happened too. Then it might be,
That's fair. I think it's a good point to point out that the twins have not had that many people in their lives that they have felt like they could trust, or it seems that way.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, very much so that all they've had is each other, and Darcy definitely has trust issues. And it's a very valid point that trusting somebody and having that trust betrayed can be very devastating.
Especially if you, like, wholeheartedly, like, I don't know, allow yourself to, like, be vulnerable with that person. So I guess maybe I was too quick to write her off, but it's just funny because they're not similar in any way, the two fears. But yeah.
So on to the orb, where Seth asked Darcy to the dance via paper note in the pocket.
That was so goofy.
He's so goofy.
I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
No.
I kind of expected the note to be like, will you be my date to the dance? Check yes or no.
Check yes or check no.
Check maybe.
It's almost like getting your guy friend to be like, hey, Seth wants to go to the dance with you. Are you going to go to the dance with him? Again, it feels like really, like, juvenile.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's intentionally doing
I was
that.
gonna say, in middle school, I had my first boyfriend break up with me by him sending his best friend
Same.
to tell me. It's like, I don't... what? And he like literally told me across the hall, hey, Ross wants to break up with you.
I had...
Okay, yeah, Ross, break up.
No.
Oh my God.
No, I had the same experience, except it was on a school bus. Like, literally, his best friend was like, hey, David wants to break up with you. And I was like,
How do you remember these people's
okay.
names?
How do I remember? Because he was a jackass to me.
Yeah. And Ross was my first boyfriend.
I have such a bad memory for stuff like that.
This person was actually kind of, like, super rude to me. Like, he low-key, like, bullied me.
Your boyfriend?
My ex. So after he broke up with me,
Okay.
he, like, low-key bullied me. He would, like, throw stuff at me on the bus and, like
So
make
he's
fun
acting
of
like
me.
the boys.
Yeah. Why is that a thing? God.
It's called poor parenting.
Actually, I ended up telling my mom, and she called his dad. I was, like, mortified because it was middle school. I was like, no, Mom, you can't call his parents. It's,
fix
like,
it?
so embarrassing. Yeah, it did fix it.
Good.
He got in big fucking trouble.
So also, Darius kind of really publicly dumps Marguerite here. And she begs him not
So
to leave.
sad.
And then, of course, they're like, it's your fault at the Vega twins. And I'm just like, why? Why?
By so sad, I mean, what a shame that she's begging for him. Because, like, girl, never beg. Embarrassing.
Though at least like with Marguerite, I don't think that it's necessarily she's begging for Darius.
Yeah.
She wants him because he's powerful and
Yeah.
she wants the power.
Oh, yeah. Gold digger.
A gold digger.
Literally.
I mean, Darius has plenty.
So apparently I wrote these like out of order because one of the things that I did note, because I feel like this is a little bit of a theme in a lot of this, which is kind of frustrating in a way, is that I feel like Max's taking of their fears felt like rape. And even like the teacher was there, did absolutely nothing to stop it, even though she kind of like warned them about using it on her. And I did make the note that I hope when they take the throne, the twins kill all the teachers.
You have to at least feel like I hope these guys get their just desserts, right? Because it is a problem with like consent. So I don't know. I don't think the teachers are gonna get a comeuppance, but that would be nice.
At least, so look at that. Did you see that? So some of them are. Some of them are.
Brittany's so easy to read. Somebody's gonna get their comeuppance. Maybe it's Orion.
The first time I read this book, I was raging the whole time because and the only reason I continued to read it is because I needed for the girls to pay back some of this to them.
One thing about Brittany is she will hold on to rage.
Yes, the Aries in me.
Yeah. Fiery.
Brittany would be that type of person that somebody would like beat the crap out of, and she'd be like, why are you walking away? And like,
Although I will say the other day I was talking to Johan and we realized that I also hold grudges. It's just quieter. I was like, oh, you're so right. I do still care about that guy that wronged me in middle school. You know what I mean? Like I will remember that for the rest of my life. I will not forget. You were like, how do you remember his name? Because he was awful to me. That's how I remember.
And Marguerite.
Hard to forget her. Hard to fucking forget her.
Also, Kylie calls Seth out for cheating on her. And he's like, babe, didn't you know I'm polyamorous? You can't poly shame me.
Oh my God.
but I mean, at the end though, that's all of this is an act,
Yeah.
right? Like they're all still together as couples. It was all planned out, right?
Are they?
I don't think Marguerite's with Darius.
See, I kind of felt like it was still.
I think Kylie's still with Seth, supposedly, but I don't think Marguerite's with Darius.
Does Marguerite know that, or does she think it was part of the plan? Because I feel like that.
Is Marguerite in on this?
I feel like she feels like it's part of the plan and they played their parts and,
Yikes.
she's going to be finding Uranus.
First of all, let me just note, so rude to people who are polyamorous. That's not how it works, but these people would not know anything about consent. Second, I think Kylie is doing this to help Seth. And so therefore she's like, okay, I'm going to be on the end with Seth for a while. When in reality, Seth actually doesn't give a fuck about her. And so I don't think that relationship is going to last that long. So even if they are together at the end, I don't think it really means anything.
Oh, no. I don't. I don't think he cares about it. I don't think he can. I don't think he's got that.
No, he's an absolute psychopath.
Exactly. One other person that we haven't mentioned that I want to bring up
Brittany's starting on the left.
is Justin Masters.
Justin.
I do not like that guy.
That asshole.
Like he's part of ass, but yet he can't get anything that they have requested right. He can't tell one twin from the other. And at that point, one has blue hair. I think he's a plant, an ass. He's an ass plant.
Justin the ass plant. Shit. No. Oh my God. Oh man, that was funny.
Oh my
it's good
God.
stuff.
If you guys only knew what I knew.
Don't be like that, Brittany. Oh man. Anyways, so Justin, the ass plant. I feel like it's not even that intentional. I think he's just an idiot. I don't know. I think Diego's the plant. I think Justin might be a part of like some plan, but that's only because he's stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lily does not like Diego.
And really. Well,
Well, okay.
she's her Sophia.
It's less that I don't like him. It's more that I don't trust him. I don't trust that man. I don't.
I have to say, after finishing, I share your feelings. Maybe not quite as graciously, but I do.
So next is Marguerite and Kylie plan to throw some Pegasus shit onto Tory, and she floods the stairway. Then she runs into what she thinks is an empty classroom, except it's not so empty. Caleb is in the back waiting for another vampire student he has to mentor, and things get a little hot and heavy.
I knew he was hot. I knew it from the beginning.
We get our first sexy time scene.
I'm a little interested in the fact that he didn't make her reciprocate. Also, I pointed out to Brittany earlier that I think, at least where I am now, I was wrong about Seth. I'll say it. At least where I am now, I feel like Caleb is a little bit different. I feel like he seems to have his own plans about things. I don't know if they're good plans, but he seems to do his own thing sometimes and seems to be reluctant sometimes to go along with things. So, like, he kind of gives her an out to the dance. He's like, hey, I want to go with you to the dance, but also we don't have to do that. We could go back to my room. And he offers it multiple times. He even gives her like a one like last ditch effort. Like, hey.
That's right.
Yeah. He's like, hey, are you sure you want to go to the dance? And she's like, yes. And he's like, okay.
I didn't catch
But he has to look like he's with the heirs. So he goes along with it. But I feel like he didn't want to.
Notice that he didn't give Darcy an out, though.
Caleb doesn't give a fuck about Darcy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's not humanity there.
Yeah, no, he favors Tory. But it's the same thing for like Orion kind of tells Darcy, like, don't mess with Seth. Orion's like, I wouldn't mess around with him. Like, he doesn't say it that way. Orion's a jackass, but he kind of gives her like a little warning.
So you think he was in on the plan?
I think he just knows things because he's friendly with Darius. I don't think he was in on it.
No, because he seemed too pissed
Yeah.
at the end. I don't think he was in on it. He may have known they were like coming
might have
up
known
with
they were doing-
something, but not to that level. But
Exactly.
I didn't catch the Caleb thing, like him giving her an out for that, because she wouldn't have been there to. And who knows, maybe he assumed if she wasn't going to go, the sister wouldn't go, Darcy wouldn't go either.
Yeah,
So
and
maybe it was kind of a savior for both.
Maybe. I don't know. And then that's where, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. And that's also where I was like, okay, more Diego weirdness, because Diego's like looking around at the dance. Like, what the fuck are you looking for? Also, do you like Sophia? Do you not like Sophia?
No. He wasn't even paying attention to her. They're like, where is she? And he's like, I don't know.
Literally. And that also the fact that, I don't know, what happened in his room? What happened with Sophia after the shots? Because have we talked to her since then?
Not really.
No.
Not really. I'm just very sus about the whole
I mean,
thing.
blatantly, she's okay, but I think it was
Yeah.
just getting her out of the way. But yeah, because then he's more interested in where the twins are
Exactly.
at the dance than his own.
He's looking around like he knows something about to happen.
Yeah.
This is also where, and you pointed this out earlier, where Sophia was like, there was something wrong with those shots.
Oh yeah, Sophia says something there.
'Cause she was
that's
like-
funny because I feel like I pointed it out before we read that part.
You did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because she does say something at the bar, but she's drunk. So you kind of go, okay, but
Yeah, I remember reading it and being like vindicated because I was like, see, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just am like, what's up with Diego? But also, I don't want to trust Caleb yet because it's like they do some bad shit at the end, and I sort of started to trust Seth, and then look at the terrible shit that he does.
he just seems like a clown, like,
Seth?
and not in like a funny way, but like just like a terrifying like
Seth?
circus clown. Yes, he scares
Joker-esque.
me. Yes.
So let's rewind back to Caleb.
Rewind.
We learn that vampires emerge at awakening, so they have to be taught to control their order form at school. And so older vampires mentor younger ones. And
Yeah.
then, Caleb doesn't necessarily like fight her at first. He almost lets her go without biting her at all. And then of course Teddy the cock blocker comes in. I bet, like, at that moment, like, Tory and Caleb were probably like, you motherfucker.
I was. I was like, damn. But they can't give it all to us right now. I have to read more books.
I honestly, when I first read it, when he did say, are you going to the dance? Let's go to your room. I was ready for something to happen at that dance.
So you caught it too, that it was him trying to get her. Okay. Yeah. I just was like, what sex? I didn't think of it.
You were like, ugh, more sex.
uh-huh. It's like, what a pig. I didn't think of it in a way of like him offering her
An out.
an out.
At first, I caught an inkling, but then when he mentioned it again, I was like, oh, this is like he's trying to say something to her without saying it to her.
Yeah.
So Tory and Darcy go to the dance. Seth shows up thinking, you're gonna go with me, right? And Darcy's like, no, I'm going with my sister. Sophia and Diego did technically go together, and on the way there they get a message from Falling Star. Diego is like, no, I don't trust this, we should go to the dance, you shouldn't go there. And
Trying to get her in the dance, insisting they go to the dance.
and the girls are like, no, we have to go meet Falling Star, y'all go. And so they go into the library and they meet Falling Star, and we finally learn who he is.
Ugh.
It's Professor Astrom, the tarot teacher, and he kind of gives them like a little family history. It's like, I'm a seer, your mom was a seer, we were friends. And he has this theory that very much goes along with Christie's, that Darius and the Acarx family are controlling the nymphs with the help of the Orion family, who has supposed ties to dark magic.
So, a couple thoughts. One, could never have guessed that Falling Star was Professor Astrom. Never in my life would I have guessed that. Two, so in his class, is it Tory or Darcy that has the vision? It's
Darcy.
Tory? It's Darcy. So one of them has to be a seer, right? It's got to be Darcy. Because if their mother was a seer, I feel like Darcy's a seer, right? I mean, that seems to be...
Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm just guessing. Actually, I just now thought of it. Because he's like, I'm a seer, your mother was a seer. We've already had a prophecy or like kind of like vision thing. So I feel like that is what Darcy is going on with Darcy. I think Darcy's going to be a seer.
I think, it sounds right to me.
Would
But
make sense to me.
Here's the thing, though, for Astrom. What was your reaction when you found out that it was him?
It was like random.
Anticlimactic?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. I wanted it so badly to be someone like close to them.
Close to them, or like one of the heirs, or like something like that is what I thought it was going to be. And I was like, crazy dude? Like, really? Like, I don't
It was
know.
not on my list.
Now, do you actually think it was Astrom that was burned, killed?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Wait, what? We'll get there, I guess.
So they're discovered in the library, and they have to, they split up and go their separate ways, much the way we do at work.
Disperse.
Who do you think was listening in on them in the library? Like, do you think it was maybe one of the heirs, another professor?
I think it was Marguerite.
Marguerite?
I don't know. I have no guesses on that either. And I'm hesitant to make a guess because couldn't see Professor Astrom coming, so I feel like it's not going to be anyone that I can guess. Unless it's Diego.
Yeah.
At this point, he is
Actually, yeah,
my
because
list.
that would make sense, because at the dance, since he's trying to figure out where everybody is, he would be most likely to have followed and to see them.
What if he is not part of either the heir or the twins faction? What if he's a secret third faction?
That would be okay. So that's not the case, because Brittany's face.
She made a face, but
But it's
still.
that would be a really good plot.
I am just wondering who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Tell me your secrets.
We talked about
Diego.
this when they decide to go to the library. I think one of them said, "What's the worst thing that could happen in a library?" And let me tell you, as employees of a library,
Man, we actually banned somebody today. Some crazy shit happens in your public library, guys.
oh yeah, I know that like there was one time where people were literally laying on the lawn and somebody was like, "I think that dude's dead, but I'm just gonna step over him."
Literally.
Well, I did water the plants the other day with the guy sleeping like near.
Oh my God.
It's Saturday morning. I want to wake him up. So
Wait, I mean, Brittany had a comment from a patron the other day about what we find in the books.
Yeah, I'm flipping through it and she goes, "If you find $100 bill in there, it's mine. I bet you haven't found one of those, have you?"
I just started cracking the fuck up because you know what I found in the book.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you guys, it wasn't $100, but
Piddly amount of money.
it was quite a bit of money.
All right, so the girls head to the dance. Orion shows up, and Diego and Sophia are dancing. Seth and Darcy are dancing, and you're right, Diego is looking around. He's not really paying attention to Sophia, and Sophia's like looking up at him with all of her attention on Diego, and so it kind of sucks for her.
Chrissy's like, dumb bitch.
I actually felt sorry for her.
Oh,
In that moment, I actually felt
did
sorry
too.
for her. Like,
I felt
I
bad
still
for
don't,
her.
I wouldn't trust her, and I don't think she's like a helpful friend, but I still felt sorry for her.
that's good.
And then, Caleb comes up to Tori. Again, this is your last chance. We should go.
Does he say that? This is your last chance?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
well,
he's
like, I'm going to give you one last chance.
He's like, I'm giving you one more time.
Yeah. Do you want to go? She thinks all he wants is sexy times too. And then she notices Darcy is gone. So she goes to find her and runs into Geraldine, which she's all better.
God bless.
And then,
So
of
happy.
course, after leaving Geraldine, she runs into Diego again. And he's like, "Oh, you're looking for Darcy? I can go with you."
She is around the corner. I'll find her.
Now, why would you want to go with me to find Darcy, Diego? Aren't
Yeah.
you here with Sophia?
Yeah. And Tori's
Where
like,
is she?
"Where is Sophia? You should
Oh,
take
no.
care of her."
She's around.
Yeah.
What's up with
Somewhere.
Yeah. I think that's when I started to get to where I was like,
You were like, okay,
Maybe
Diego's
she's right.
being weird.
Yeah.
So then Tori heads outside to find Darcy, and Darius shows up. He says, "One last chance." leave, take your sister and go. And she says, fuck you. And he coerces her to not fight or scream and then takes her off. How are we feeling about Darius at this point?
I kind of feel like a little bit the same like with Caleb, that it was like, you have to do this. You know, if we can get him to leave before we have to do something, but this is... I don't know, whatever his parents have over him, or I don't know. Does he have like a loved one or something that's being threatened for him?
Why did Darcy get stuck with the worst heirs and Tory gets stuck with two who might be kind of okay? Like, I don't know. You know what?
Tory would have seen through the others.
So true. Tory, can you imagine Tory and Seth and Max? But also, can we just talk about for a second the fact that this is a dance? It feels like an end of school dance and it's actually like a weekend.
Yeah.
So weird. It feels like it's like the end of the season,
Yeah.
the end of semester.
Yeah.
I think it's actually 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
2
even
weeks.
high school doesn't have a dance 2 weeks in. Who
Yeah.
are you going to meet?
Again, whoever wrote this book, I don't know what you're trying to do
How
right
do
now.
schools work in the UK?
Yeah, is it?
They might have dances there in college, maybe.
I wonder
a
though,
clue.
like since Kylie was handing out flyers for the party in Orion's class, if this was a
Student organized
party.
Now that
Aren't they all?
that makes more sense. No, I mean, like, it depends on if we're talking about high school or college. But, I mean, a lot of times there's just, like, dances that you have throughout the year that are just set up.
Yeah, but aren't they like prom committee or something where you've got like the actual high schoolers that
Yeah, I guess so.
set it up?
Again, it feels like high school.
Yeah,
But
very
no,
much
that's a
so.
good point, Brittany. It is like the students that set it up, which is another point towards the fact that Kylie is involved.
Oh, I definitely think Kylie is involved.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, like, everyone knew except for the twins, it seems.
Yeah.
Pretty shitty.
So Darcy is outside. She doesn't trust Seth, but she's starting to think that maybe he's all right. Orion shows up and he's super shifty. She calls him out on being alone with a student and he tells her to stay away from Seth. So what does she do? She runs right to him. It's like perfect setup. He hadn't have told her to stay away. It wouldn't have been a, well, then I'm gonna say fuck you and go hang out with him.
Which makes me question, because I don't remember this part, maybe you guys can refresh my memory. Why is Orion there?
He's a chaperone,
He's a
which
chaperone?
makes it a little like,
In
High
college.
school.
In college.
That's a good
I
point.
mean, you're right. I forgot that the reason he's there is because he's a chaperone and the other teachers are there.
It's just so weird.
Yeah, because if it's in college, why wouldn't you have at least some of the student body living off campus like you do in college?
I really think it was written to be in high school and they just changed it last minute.
The students can leave. Like the girls go to the bar
Yeah.
and you'll learn later that Darius goes home occasionally.
Yeah, but you don't have anybody living at home while they're going or living off campus. They literally all stay on campus, just like high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but moving on.
So Seth
We
pulls
gotta
her
discuss
over.
it.
Seth pulls her over to a bench. He's being all sweet, kisses her, chops her bun off.
Devastating.
Yeah, I would be devastated. My hair used to be down to my butt, and every time just getting a haircut, it's like,
Yeah. I literally would lose my shit on him. I would go berserk. I'd be tearing his eyes out. I feel like Darcy has like a breakdown where she's like, I can't do this anymore, and she like starts crying. I would lose my shit on him. I would immediately go for his neck.
not to mention the fact that as soon as it happens, she hears Kylie giggling, and then Kylie's like, got it on video.
I'd go for her too. God. It just infuriates me. It infuriates me. God, I hate it so much. It's like, I don't know. I have to, like, I just want to punch something.
I completely understand.
Well, hopefully after this, though, Darcy is a little more selective of who she's around. If she goes back to Seth, then what? Oh my God. Does she?
I think the
Are
whole
you-
series is like that.
It's not saying anything. Just not-
I do
Then
not
I-
know anything, but I think the whole series is a big just clusterfuck of back and forth. I know it's a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess. But so we feel like Darcy's betrayal from Seth is very intimate. It's horrific to read. You're like, "Oh my God, this bitch has been holding out for that this whole fucking time."
Oh yeah. I mean, when he first met her, he was like, I'm gonna chop off all your hair.
And that was a promise.
And he ended up doing it.
And then you start to realize as the reader, you're like, damn, it worked on me. Like, I completely underestimated his, well, Christy didn't. I completely underestimated his level of evil.
I did too.
I wanted to believe as well. There were parts of me as well that I was hoping that, that she could trust him. Because there was that kind of pull to like, well, that's why I was like, oh, it's so frustrating. Like, he's a psychopath, and yet you still want to believe there's something there that's salvageable.
Yeah.
So, of course, after she's left devastated, Seth runs off to go see what they're doing with Tory, and Orion shows up and comforts her, and we get the first little glimpse of a softer side of Orion. He makes his little Spider-Man joke.
And that's when I finally will call him Orion now. I do like him.
I already kind of liked him, but I was thankful for him at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orion has a special place in my heart.
And I think that says something about the series.
Yes, definitely.
But then we also have Tori's side of things.
Yeah. So we go back to the pool. Darius is dragging Tory into Lunar Leisure where the pool is, and there's a crowd of people. So they've invited people to this. And he tells, them a true fae has to face their fears. And she looks him in the eye and says, I don't know how to swim. You should know this, that if you push me in that pool, you are attempting to kill me. And they do. They coerce her to climb all the way to the top diving board and then try to coerce her off, which she shakes off. And then Seth tries to use his wind magic to push her off. And I think what really shows balls is that rather than be pushed, she jumped. She took the courage. She faced her fear by jumping.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they give Tory enough credit for that in this series. They're sitting there saying, well, we're doing this because they have to face their fear. She did. She did.
They didn't care. Well, they didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't want him to face their fear. That was just the excuse.
For me, like, even jumping into the water was facing her fear. But not only that, but, Max and Darius are using their water magic to pound her under the water and then to freeze the top over. Like, how cruel can you be?
Yeah, that's literally a nightmare.
Yeah, we're in the South, so we don't really have frozen lakes, but you see in movies where people fall through the ice and, you see them banging on the ice and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I'll never be in that situation.
Yeah, I'm claustrophobic, so the whole idea is just god-awful. Being, like, stuck under that, it gives me, like, goosebumps just thinking about it. But you said that she faces her fear, which is like Darcy in the beginning when she jumps off the tower, and they give her that credit.
Yeah. But they don't give her the credit here. And literally, like, she comes up and she's panicking and she breaks that ice. Not completely, but breaks it on her own. And it literally takes Max and Darius power sharing to hold it together. And even that she didn't get enough credit for, because, like, that is some power.
Like, they try so hard. Like, they genuinely try so hard to kill her, which is insane.
Yeah.
At least Seth didn't kill her.
Yeah. For this, they literally, like, wait for her to pass out. And the only reason that she got out is because, and maybe they would have let her go, who knows? But Orion comes in, melts it with his own water magic, and pulls her out. And they literally say that her heartbeat is super slow. Like, that she is near death. And what do the heirs do but try to sneak out? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Cowards.
Yeah.
And of course, Orion gives them 2 weeks of detention and a warning, and everybody present other than the Vega twins got a single week of detention, which is so sad.
Great way to end the book.
Yeah.
Like, detention. Well, there is one last scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I think go ahead and start. Let's talk about it.
Okay, because that's my question too, because I know we're kind of wrapping up here anyways. Eastrom, who actually thinks, well, you don't get a choice because do you think it is actually him that dies?
I mean, I didn't have any reason not to think it was Astrum, but it would make some sense if he was just like doing like a illusion kind of trick or something to make them think that he's dead or make somebody think that he's dead, but I kind of think
or
he
if it was
died.
somebody else.
Yeah.
His messages did seem like somebody was after him.
Yeah, so I don't know. In my mind, it was him, but it just makes you wonder like what we're going to see in the next book.
Who do you think did the dastardly deed?
Well, did he die during Tory's drowning is the question.
True, we don't know. All we know is that, somebody comes across his body, they scream out, and when Orion and everybody comes out, the body is on fire.
Didn't Darius leave, though?
Darius did leave before Orion. And somebody does say, dragon fire. But, there's also elemental power.
It's Darius's family.
You think it's Darius's family?
I don't know. If it's not Darius, maybe it's his family.
Could Darius have killed somebody else to protect Astrum?
I don't know if Darius is that much of a good guy yet. I think he's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because Astrum doesn't like Darius's family, so makes you think they're not working together.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
All right, so that ends our text.
Guess we're gonna have to find out next week what happens.
Yes, so I am a writer, and Lily, I know you're a writer. What plot was there in this, as a whole? That frustrates me, because I'm well, what plot sequence, if it's the hero's journey, which is what I think it most fits, but as far as the hero's journey, the whole series, this is step one of the hero's journey. But I feel like I think you said it in the last episode, where the book feels episodic, like it's a television series instead of a complete beginning, middle, end, with a larger beginning, middle, end overall.
Yeah.
The girls come to school, they get bullied, and then they nearly drown.
Great plot.
What happened there? What was the plot?
Yeah, I think we got some things introduced to us, they are supposed to inherit the throne. They're supposed to have all these powers. They're supposed to, they have enemies. But I do think it is more kind of how we felt with Blood and Ash, where we always felt that it ended in the middle of a scene, or in the middle of something important happening. I remember us talking about how we felt like it was less of a cliffhanger and more just someone just stopped it in the middle of the book. I feel like that's how this book ends too, and so I feel like either the writers had trouble finding an ending for this book, and because they have so much more to write, or even they don't know what the plot is at this point. And like I said, porn without plot is a thing, so I mean, it's just a souped up version of maybe a Harlequin novel.
Yeah, and me looking at it from the whole series,
Maybe that's unfair.
I know that there is a plot overall.
Right.
It's just for a single book, it didn't feel like enough of a plot.
It feels like an introduction.
Yes. And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but Christy, any new thoughts on maybe what their order might be?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I do think one of them is a dragon. I still think one is a hydra, just because they said that was really rare. So possibly. But I do think Tori is a dragon. I could see that with her and Darius.
In this world, hydras fly. Awesome.
So Tori is a hydra.
I think that's so cool. I guess it's because hydras are technically dragons.
Something like that. Both of their parents had wings, so I do love that.
Then I don't know what the second one would be. Maybe a, I don't know. I mean, I know the mom was a harpy, but...
I mean, you said that one might be a dragon and one might be a hydra.
Well, yeah, but Tori was who I was thinking would end up being a dragon, but...
Now you think she's a hydra.
But if she's a hydra, then that would take care of that.
Well, I mean, hydras are not considered a dragon in the dragon order. They are a completely different order.
Right. But I was putting her as something equivalent. So I don't know for Darcy.
What about how they replenish their magic?
I know. I need to really go back and look at that, because that was after he said, pay attention to when you... I need to go back and look at that, because I didn't after we talked about it.
If you go back and look, you'll catch it immediately. If you just wait for it to show up, you'll catch it.
So how are we feeling about each of the boys? Favorites, least favorites?
Man, Seth was my favorite. Fuck Seth.
Seth was least favorite. Darius's favorite, probably.
Caleb's my favorite.
Yeah.
Wait.
I'm going to half it with Caleb. I
think Caleb or Orion.
Orion's definitely my favorite.
Oh, I thought we were just doing the heirs.
I feel like Orion is a contender. I feel like he is a love interest.
For Darcy, yeah.
You know who my favorite boy is?
Diego?
Justin Masters.
Oh, man.
No. Definitely Orion.
Caleb's my favorite heir. Very tied with Caleb and Orion in terms of favorite boy character or male love interest. Yeah. I don't even know who my favorite character is, though. I don't know if I have a favorite character right now.
Yeah. What do we think about the potential romance pairings?
Darius and Tory. And then I think Darcy and Orion.
So you think those are the end game?
For me, it's Darcy and Orion, but...
The stars, what they say, I don't know what they're going to say. Because I have a feeling what they're going to say is going to be oh, what the fuck? And that somehow they'll find a way around it and be together. But I don't think the stars are going to pick Orion for Darcy.
I fear tragedy will strike with Tory, with Darius. I don't know. I like Caleb so far.
Yeah.
But Darius is a contender.
Yeah.
I like Caleb right now.
I do like Caleb too, after what y'all were saying.
Yeah.
I think that's highly likely.
Do you think like they'll do Darcy ends up getting with Seth and then ends up with Orion, or Tory ends up getting with Caleb and then ends with Darius, or even another way around? Maybe we have a Tamlin situation.
I can't see Darcy going for anyone but Orion. I really can't, especially after Seth cut her hair off.
Yeah.
I don't know. She might fuck somebody to hurt his feelings. I could definitely see Darcy doing that. I don't know. Tori would definitely do that, right? Like, Tori would definitely spite fuck somebody. I don't know. I hope not, because it seems harsh. But I know some bad shit's about to go down, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we'll leave it there.
All right, I guess that wraps up book 1 of the Zodiac Academy series, The Awakening. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Next episode, we're going to be discussing book 2, Ruthless Fae, chapters 1 through 14. New episodes drop every Tuesday.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to be able to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners, and don't stay up too late.